Hey, how are you? SliceofOtaku, and Steven has finally lived up to his Season 1 promise of curing corruption, and it is really exciting. But it does beg the question, what will become of these gems from here on out? And not only them, but also the off-colors, or even just Lapis and Peridot. Obviously, the off-colors have just arrived on Earth with full intentions to stay, and the same can be said for Lapis and Peridot who already live there. But the corrupted gems are more so like a mixed bag. You have both crystal gems and homeworld gems alike, but there wasn't really any indication that any of them would be returning to homeworld with the diamonds. It's entirely possible, but I doubt it. Which, is fine either way because homeworld isn't going to be all that judgy going forwards, so not going back with them is sure to be understood. And regardless, Steven is a diamond, so staying with him makes just as much sense. But where would they stay, and what will they do? Well, if you remember, with the episode Reunited, the diamond attack left Steven's home in a broken state, and even now, as you can see, at the end of Change Your Mind, it's still under renovations. And come on, if Bismuth and Peridot can manage to repair and modify the diamond ships enough to withstand and traverse interstellar travel, and be controllable, then I'd like to think that they'd be handy enough to work out a bit of home renovation.
The house! Don't worry, I can fix it!
And even though we don't see any new gems with the final beach scene of Change Your Mind, we do see Lapis and Peridot who, without the barn, are effectively homeless. And now that they've both reformed with crystal gem attire, I can't imagine that they'd still be separated from the main group. I also doubt that Bismuth would want to be separated from Biggs after only just getting her back. Now, as for what all these gems would do, I think it's pretty simple. Live the crystal gem dream. Be happy and be free. You have a bunch of these gems kissing and holding each other, and it's really heartwarming. Having all these gems live in Beach City would just serve to further reinforce the crew's desire to intertwine the two sides of Steven's existence, having human and gem relations be stronger than ever. Which to me just further secures a fun and interesting future for the show. Human-centric episodes typically have a pretty hard time keeping up with the intrigue of gem-centric ones, so hopefully mixing the two together will help make just about every episode an enjoyable watch. Something I would love to see would be a gem landmark restoration initiative. Colonizing the planet is of course bad, but the structures already left by Gemkind don't have to be bad too. Many have been broken apart throughout the series and even prior to the series, so repurposing these locations would be incredibly fascinating and a testament to change, reiterating to the audience that this is a living, breathing world and that these places matter, which is something I think we already got a taste of with Back to the Kindergarten. And one place in particular I would love to see repaired would be the Galaxy Warp. Because now that Homeworld is undergoing true change, traversing between the two planets shouldn't be an issue. And as a side note, if you're wondering why the Uncorrupted gems look the way they do, well, I have an answer for you. Apparently, Ian Jones-Quartey, former Crewniverse story artist and current showrunner of OKKO, was in charge of this situation, and his rationalization was that the longer a gem was corrupted, the more severe the alterations to their appearances. Which I guess is cool, but I honestly don't like that very much. Because at this point, a lot of these gems just look like Monsters Inc. characters, and it'll more than likely be a long time before we see what their homeworld equivalents look like, if ever. As far as I'm concerned, corrupted gems should have had their designs created backwards in the first place. Take a gem and make them monstrous instead of taking an absurd monster and struggling to translate their design into a humanoid form. And I don't even know if it makes sense contextually. I can understand the centipedals for sure, but gems that have had their physical forms poofed and placed in bubbles which are supposed to act as stasises should be able to reform normally. Is the damage to their gems just that irreparable? And if that's the case, is this really a cure or just the equivalent of turning a coma into an STI? If their gems are forever changed despite no visible indication on the surface, would fusion still pass on the illness? It's a bit nonsensical, but whatever. I guess it could be easier to identify them going forwards. But what do you guys think? What will the future hold for these gems, and which Uncorrupted design is your favorite? For me, I think all the quartz gems look really nice, probably because there was a pre-existing basis for the designs, but still. I do like Jasper's horns, but I'm not exactly partial to her current torso just yet, but we'll see. Thank you all so much for watching and have an awesome day. I love you.